the webinar series. You all knows the two webinars we have already done, and today is the third webinar of this webinar series. So welcome to all the participants, and this is this is the interactive session. In this session, you have the right to speak, and you can suggest your because your suggestions are very important for making the regulations more impactful and more effective. So the ICSI IPA can submit its comment to the IBBI for the better regulations for informing the best and impactful regulations. So this is the session in which we will interact, and I will take the suggestions from you all the participants, and I request to all the participants, please uh, give your initiative or give your suggestions and take part in the conversation and on your videos also, so we can give our all suggestions to the ICSI IPA for the incorporation of a impactful regulations in the IBBI to the IBBI. So we'll start with the session, and I will show you. I will discuss this because this webinar series is related to the inspection. Today we will discuss the regulation which is related to the inspection and investigation and utility services, and also I will discuss the complaint handling process which was handled by the IBBI. So I will share the regulation which we will discuss. I'm just sharing my screen. So is this visible?
Yes, visible.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So we'll start with the first regulation, which is today's topic regulation. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India Inspection and Investigation Regulations 2017. This regulation was amended up to 29th January 2025. So after this, there is no amendments, and this is amended up to 29th January 2025. So we'll discuss this regulation first. So what is the regulation number 1 is provides that these regulation may be called the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India Inspection and Investigation Regulation, and these regulation came into force on the date of their publication in the official gazette. These regulations shall apply to the inspection and investigation of service providers. So basically, this is applicable for the inspection and investigation of the service providers. Now, who is the service providers? This is very important to discuss. So what is the definition? Basically provides, as per these regulations, the definition is the associated person. Basically, who is the associated person? Associated person means a proprietor, a partner, director, officer, or an employee of a service provider, uh, a professional or a valuer engaged by the service provider. So these are also covered, or any other person acting for or on behalf of the service provider under the inspection or investigation. So basically they have given the definition of associated person, and in this definition the proprietor, partner, director, in fact the professional or a valuer who was engaged by the service provider was covered. So this is basically, these are the associated person. And code means we know the insolvency code 2016, and disciplinary committee, because there is a change as per if we have seen uh, 29th January 2025 amendments, then there is a change in the in this particular part, because you have seen on my screen, this was inserted on 28th January 2025, which was with effect from 29th January 2025. So basically there is a change. And what is this provide? So regulation 2 sub regulation 1 part C was provide that the disciplinary committee, what is the disciplinary committee? So disciplinary committee means a committee of a whole time members constituted by the board under subsection 1 of section 220 of the code provides that the whole time members in the disciplinary committee shall not be associated with the investigation or inspection. So basically whoever is the whole time members in the IBBI, they cannot become the part of the disciplinary committee, and they shall not be in the disciplinary, provided that the whole time member in a disciplinary committee shall not be associated with the investigation or inspection. Now they have inserted two. This was inserted, basically, particularly this was inserted. Before the amendments there was nothing, and they have inserted the explanation. Here is the explanation was inserted. So what is provided as per this explanation? It is hereby clarified that associated means shall means involvement in the conduct of investigation or inspection or consideration of the investigation or inspection report or issuance of the show cause notice. So they have further insert a explanation here ki who will be considered as a who will be considered as the associated. So associated means shall means whoever means involvement in the conduct of investigation, whoever was involved in the conduct of the investigation or inspection or consideration of investigation or inspection report, means they have considered the inspection and investigation report, or if they have issued the show cause notice. So they all are covered here in the definition of the associated. So who is the associated? Whether they are involved in the conduct of investigation or inspection, or they have considered the inspection or investigation report, or the issuance of the show cause notice. So here is the or in each and every consideration. So the associated means these type of the person as are covered as a associated. So these are the associated. Now what is the electronic form? So electronic form shall have the same meaning as assigned to it in clause R of Information and Technology Act 2000. So they have defined that the information electronic form, whatever the definition is provided as per the IT Act, this will be the same for this, for here, the electronic form. And investigation authority means an officer or the team of the officer of the board which has been directed by the board to conduct the investigation of a service provider. So first we know ki who is the service provider. So what is the meaning of the service provider? So the service provider means, here they have defined in section regulation 2 sub-regulation J, what is provided? Ki the service provider means a insolvency professional agency, means IPA is covered here. Insolvency professional, we as a insolvency professional covered here. Insolvency professional entity, in fact the IPE is also covered here, or information utilities, and they have also covered the information utility also. So they have covered all these person as a service provider. So whether if they are IPA, IP, IPE or IE, IU, all are covered here as a service provider. So basically, this is the definition of service provider. Now, this will be easy to understand. So I will read these these definitions also. Investigating authority. Basically, who is the investigating authority? Investigating authority means an officer or a team of the officer of the board. Basically, here is the board is the IBBI board, which has been directed by the board to conduct the investigation of the service provider. So basically, the team, whatever made by the board for the investigation, will be called the investigating authority. And who is the inspecting authority? Inspecting authority means an officer or a team of the officer of the board, the same whatever is defined for the investigation authority, they have given the same definition for the inspecting authority. So this is also be appointed by the board only. So IBBI board will appoint the inspection and investigation authorities both. Noticee means a service provider or an associated person who is alleged to have convicted any provision of the code or rules or regulation or guidelines made thereunder. So the person to whom the notice was served means basically the service provider. He will be means the service provider will be considered as a noticee. The record means the books of accounts, register, documents, call records, and and other records means all other records, whether maintained in electronic form or otherwise, of a service provider and its associated person. Because we have already discussed who are the associated person. So first they have defined the associated person, and in the definition of associated person they have covered all. So here is the same. They have said the record means the record whatever is kept by the service provider, either by the service provider or and its associated person. So both covered, the service provider and, because the word is and is here. So service provider and its associated person, if they are having any records, then this will be covered in the definition of the records. Stakeholder means the stakeholder as defined in clause J. The clause J of sub-regulation 1 of regulation 2 of the IBBI grievance. We will discuss this also, because the regulation we will discuss this. So I will also show you this, what is the stakeholders defined here. I'm just showing 1 minute. The stakeholders is because this is the grievance and complaint handling procedure regulation. Later on, we will discuss this regulation also in this session. So what is the definition of a stakeholder here? A stakeholder means a debtor or a creditor, a claimant, a service provider, or resolution applicant, and any other person having an interest in the insolvency, liquidation, voluntary liquidation, or bankruptcy transaction under the code. So they have covered all the person who are having the interest, because they have covered the debtor, the creditor, the claimant, the service provider, and the RA also. And they have also covered any other person having an interest in the insolvency, whether in liquidation, whether in voluntary liquidation, or whether in bankruptcy transaction under the code. So they have covered all these persons as a stakeholders. So this is the definition which is provided as per clause J of regulation 2 of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India Grievance and Handling Procedure Regulation 2017. Now we will, so is there anyone want to make any changes in this definition part, or I can proceed further? Is there any changes required in this definition part, or can can I move them?
You can proceed, nothing is open.
Yes, sir. Is there any changes required in the definition part, sir? So you can suggest, the participants can suggest. No. Okay, so we'll discuss chapter number 2. Inspection. What is the inspection? Inspection by the board. The board shall conduct inspection of such number of service providers every year. Here is the word is every year, as may be decided by the board from time to time. So this is basically given in as per regulation 3. The board can conduct inspection of such number of service providers every year. And we have already discussed who is the service providers. The definition we have already discussed. So the board have the right to make the inspection every year. Now, without prejudice to the provision of self-regulation 1, means this, the board may conduct inspection of the service provider under section 218. So what is provided as per 218? We'll also discuss what is provided as per section 218. This is the 218 investigation of insolvency professional agency or its member or information utility. So basically, they have provided this section also. Investigation of insolvency professional agency or its member or information utility. Where the board on receipt of a complaint under section 217 or has a reasonable ground or to believe that any insolvency professional agency or insolvency professional or an information utility has contravened any of the provision of the code or the rule or regulation made or direction issued by the board thereunder, it may at any time by an order in writing direct any person or person to act as an investigation authority, because we have already discussed who is the investigating authority and who is the inspection authority. So the board will direct any person to conduct an inspection or investigation of the insolvency professional agency or insolvency professional or the information utility. The inspection or investigation carried out under, but they have not covered IPE here, because IPA is there, IP is there, IU is there, but IPE is not here. The inspection or investigation carried out under subsection 1 of this section shall be conducted within such time and in such manner as may be specified by the regulation. The investigating authority may, in course of such inspection or investigation, may require any other person who is likely to have any relevant document, record, or information to furnish the same, and such person shall be bound to furnish such document, record, or information. We have already read what is the meaning of record. So whatever is maintained by the service provider as well as the associate of the service provider will consider as a records. So provided that the investigating authority shall provide the detailed reason of such person before requiring him to furnish such document, record or information. So basically this is given as per section 218. Now we will discuss our regulation. We'll go back to the regulation. My screen is visible now to all?
Yes, yes.
ma'am. Okay, thank you, sir. So this is here. The without prejudice to provision of sub-regulation 1, the board may conduct inspection of the service provider under section 218. We have already seen what is provided as per section 218. The board may, for the purpose of this regulation, by an order, direct an inspecting authority to conduct an inspection of records of the service providers for the purposes is specified under sub-regulation 4. So what is provided as per sub-regulation 4? The purpose is defined here. So what is the purpose of inspection? What is the purpose of inspection is defined here. It includes, means includes is here. To ensure that the records are being maintained by the service provider in the manner required under the relevant regulations, to ascertain whether the adequate internal control system, procedure and safeguards have been established and are being followed by the service provider to fulfill its obligation under the relevant regulations, to ascertain whether any circumstances exist. So they have given all these purposes for which they can make the inspection, and such other purpose, because they have also given here is such other purpose as may be deemed fit by the board in furtherance of the objective of the code. So they have given any other purpose also if this is deemed fit by the board, means deemed fit by the IBBI board. So they have given these reasons for which the inspection can be carried on. The order referred to in sub-regulation 3 shall contain what contain? Whatever the order issued by the IBBI, this will contain. What will be contained in this order? The scope of inspection, composition of the inspecting authority, timelines for conducting the inspection, reporting of the progress of inspection, and submission of the interim inspection report, if any, and submission of the inspection report. So these points should be covered as per the order referred in sub-regulation 3. So whatever the order was made by the IBBI, the order should have, because here is the word is order has been used. So the order is contained all these things: the scope of inspection, composition, timeline, reporting, interim report, and the submission of inspection report, the final report. So all have covered as per the order. The board and the inspecting authority shall make every efforts to keep the inspection confidential and to cause the least burden or description or to the business of the service provider under inspection. So this was saying ki the inspecting authority shall make every efforts to keep the inspection confidential and to cause the least burden on or description to the business of the service provider. So there is a least burden, not so much burden to be given to the service provider. So basically, this is the purpose of the board to make the inspection and how they will conduct and what will be contained as per the order. They have mentioned everything here. Now, conduct of inspection, how they will conduct the inspection. The inspecting authority shall serve a notice of inspection to the service provider at least 10 days before. They have saying कि they will serve, first they will serve the notice of inspection to the service provider 10 days before the commencement of the inspection, and provided that where the inspecting authority is satisfied that the notice will cause undue delay in inspection or there is an apprehension that record of the service provider may be destroyed, multilaterate, altered, falsified, secreted, or after the notice is served, it may for the reason to be recorded in writing dispense with such notice. So that notice period can be dispensed of for 10 days notice if there is these type of causes are there. So it is clarified by the board. The inspecting authority may require the service provider or an associated person to submit records as may be required before the commencement of inspection. So basically, the inspecting authority may require the service provider or an associated person submit the records as may be required before the commencement of the inspection. The inspecting authority may visit the office of the service provider for conducting the on-site inspection. So they can also visit the office of the service provider. They have the right. It shall be the duty of the service provider and the associated person to produce before the inspecting authority such records in his custody or control and furnish to the inspecting authority such statement and information related to the services within such time as the inspecting authority may require. So this is the duty of the service provider कि they will provide all the records to the inspecting authority. Now, service provider shall allow the inspecting authority to have access to the premises occupied by such provider or any other person on its behalf and extend the facility for examination of any records in the possession of the service provider or any such other person. So they should the service provider shall allow the inspecting authority to have access if the records are with the associated person or other. So they should allow the inspecting authority to have access to the premises occupied by such service provider or any other person on its behalf and extend the facility for examination of any records in the possession of the service provider or any such other person and provides copies of the records and is here so required to provide the copies of the records or other material which in the opinion of the inspecting authority are relevant for the inspection. The inspecting authority shall in the course of inspection may examine and records the statement of associated person of service provider in relation to the affairs of this business. Now I have one suggestion in this regulation. I will show you. Because I have inserted a proviso as per regulation 4, sub-regulation 6, because we are reading this. The inspecting authority shall, in the course of inspection, may examine and records statements of any associated person of the service provider in relation to the affairs of his business. So basically this is mentioned here, but I want to insert a proviso also after this regulation. What is provided as per the proviso? The inspecting authority shall ensure that all the statements recorded are either transcribed in writing and read over the person giving the statement who shall sign the same, or records of audio via audio or video means with the transcript to be shared upon the request. So so the transparency can be held in because we if the inspection is initiated by the IBBI against us like a IP, then we should also know ki what they have recorded. So we I want to make some changes, to insert some proviso here also, which provides, the proviso will provides that the inspecting authority shall ensure that all the statement recorded are either the transcribed in writing and read over to the person, because we also know ki whatever they have recorded and the statement should be read over to the person before us, giving the statement who shall sign the same, or recorded via audio video means with the transcript to be shared upon the request. So this should require to be inserted after this regulation 6 4 sub regulation 6, the proviso required to be inserted. So this is my opinion only. So I invited to all the participants, is this proviso required to be inserted here, or they have some more suggestions, they can also suggest. The proviso is this. I wanted to add this proviso. If they have any comment or they want to make any further changes in this regulation, they can suggest. So proceed further. No suggestion. Now, regulation 4, sub-regulation 7, what is provided as per this regulation? It shall be the duty of the service provider and an associated person to give to the inspecting authority all the assistance with the inspecting authority may reasonably require in connection with the inspection. So this is the duty of ours. Now I want some more proviso should be inserted, some more regulation required to be inserted here. The regulation 4, sub-regulation 8. No subsequent inspection shall be conducted on the same fact and cause of action unless a fresh material evidence has come to the light and the reason for such re-inspection are recorded in writing and approved by the board. So I want this proviso should also be inserted. This is the safeguarding regulation for the IPs, IPE, or whatever the service provider. So the again and again inspection cannot be done by the IBBI. So re-inspection can only be made when they have provided why they have a valid reason for the re-inspection. So no subsequent inspections shall be conducted on the same facts, because the facts are the same. If facts are different, then they can conduct. If facts are the same, then they cannot, they have no need to make the subsequent inspection. So the no subsequent inspection shall be conducted on the same facts and cause of action unless the fresh material evidence has come into light. So if there is any fresh material, then they can do this, otherwise they cannot. And reason for such re-inspection are recorded in writing. And because I have inserted and here. Why? Because only the re-inspection recorded in writing, only when the recorded in writing, only they can and approved by the board, only then the re-inspection can be by the inspecting authority. So the proviso the sub regulation 4.8 I want to insert here. This is my suggestion. And if you have the participants have any suggestions or any modification and they want to add anything in this sub regulation, they can suggest. So proceed further. Okay, no suggestions. So this is okay, I think.
Oh, yeah. It's okay.
Yes, sir.
You can proceed.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. Now, interim inspection report. What should be the part of the interim inspection report? The inspecting authority may submit an interim inspection report to the board if it considered appropriate, keeping in view the nature and progress of the inspection. So the inspecting authority may submit for the interim inspection report to the board. Here is the word is may, not shall. So this is not mandatory, but they can submit. if it is considered appropriate, keeping in view the nature and progress of the inspection. The inspecting authority shall submit an interim inspection report if required by the board. So if the board have required any interim inspection report, then the inspecting authority can submit to them. If the board is satisfied from the interim inspection report that there is a gross violation of provision of the code or rules or regulation made thereunder by the service provider, and an immediate action under subsection 2 of section 220 is warranted, the board shall refer the matter to the disciplinary committee for an appropriate action. So basically, if the board is satisfied on the basis of interim inspection report, only then they can refer the matter to the disciplinary committee. So we have already discussed this, the definition of the disciplinary committee, who will be the part of the disciplinary committee, as we have already discussed, for an appropriate action. On consideration of interim inspection report, the disciplinary committee may pass an interim order with appropriate directions to the service provider. So on consideration of this interim inspection report, the disciplinary committee, whatever to which the matter was referred by the IBBI, may pass, here is also may pass an interim order with appropriate direction to the service provider. The interim order referred in sub-regulation 4 shall lapse on the expiry of 90 days. So after expiry of the 90 days, this interim order will be expired. So basically, this is written here. Now, inspection report. Interim inspection report we have already discussed. And after that, the IBBI will give the refer the matter to the disciplinary committee if there is some violation. And what is the inspection report? Now, the inspecting authority shall send a copy of the draft inspection report to the service provider shall. Here is the word shall. So this is the mandatory, because interim inspection is, here is the word is may, and this is required to be submit to the board, interim inspection report to the board. But this is the inspection report, the inspecting authority shall, here is the word shall, so this is mandatory, shall send a copy of the draft inspection report to the service provider, requiring comments of the service provider within 15 days from the receipt of the draft inspection report. So they have also said within 15 days, if you have any comment as a service provider, you can comment, otherwise they will take the action. The inspecting authority shall submit a copy of the draft inspection report to the board. So they will also submit this copy to the board also. The board shall examine the draft inspection report as to whether inspection is complete and satisfactory or require any further inspection, and advise the inspecting authority accordingly within 15 days of the receipt of the draft inspection report. So this the board shall examine this report was also being examined by the board as to whether the inspection is complete and satisfactory, or here is the word or, require any further inspection, and advise the inspecting authority accordingly within 15 days of receipt of the draft inspection report. So board will examine within 15 days of the receipt of this report. After considering the comments of the service provider and taking into account advice of the board, means they have submit to the board as well as to the service provider, and the 15 days time for the service provider here, and the same 15 days time is here for the examination to the board. So after considering the comments of the service provider and taking into account of the advice of the board, means both, here is the service provider and the board both, the inspecting authority shall prepare the inspection report and submit to the board. So this is the after considering the comments. Now, is there any changes want to suggest by anyone in this regulation or in this chapter? Because I have already shown you these are my suggestions, and if you have any suggestions, you can also share. No suggestion from the participant. So we'll go on chapter 3. What is the chapter 3? The investigation, because inspection is not very serious, but investigation is very serious. Now, investigation by the board. What the board may conduct investigation of a service provider under section 218. We have already seen this section on whom the section is applicable. So we have already discussed this section. The board may, for the purpose of this regulation, may by an order direct an investigation authority to conduct an investigation of the affairs of the service provider and to report thereon to the board. Because I have shown you, because they have covered all as per the definition 218, they have covered IPA, IP, information utility, but why they have not covered IPE? Because investigation should also require to be made for the IPE also. I think in this section, the further amendments required to be made, because IPE should also be in the word IPE, insolvency professional entity, should also be required to be inserted here, because IPA covered, IP covered, IU covered, not IPE is not covered. Because they are saying the service provider, because service provider already have covered the definition. In this definition is they have already covered the
Ma'am,
IPE,
please go
but
to
not
that again.
covered here. Yes,
Please go
sir.
to unit. It is written.
Yes, sir.
Actually, in the
Sir,
heading
your
218.
voice
218.
is very slow, sir. 1 minute, sir. I'm checking my. Sir, yes, sir. Your voice is very slow, sir.
218.
Yes, sir. 218. I will show.
Kindly
you.
go.
Yes, sir.
Here in the heading, he is writing are its member. Okay. So IPA of all the members of IPA are covered in the heading, but I think we should read it here. Any if member is written or not. Where the board on seat of a complaint as grounds that any other person or
1 minute,
individual
sir.
has
Your
contributed
voice
any
is
of the
very
code.
Just check.
Okay. Then insolvency, professional agency, or information. Okay, I think this
Your voice is very slow. I'm not able to.
we should give this. Okay, because in the top in the heading the word member is written, but not in the section.
The section is not in the section. This is not written.
Had it been member,
IPE should. They should also mention here the IPE, because in the definition of service provider, IPE is already covered.
okay.
So how they will make the investigation for the IPE if they will not covered as per this section?
ठीक है मैम, ठीक है.
So the board may conduct investigation of the service provider under section 218. The board may, for the purpose of this regulation, by an order direct an investigation authority to conduct an investigation of the affairs of the service provider. Here the board direct an investigation authority to conduct the investigation, same as the investigation of the affairs of the service provider, and to report thereon to the board. The order referred to in sub-regulation 2 shall contain the following particulars. The same, whatever the covered by the inspection, they have covered the order the same. The scope of the composition, the timeline, reporting, submission of interim investigation report, and submission of investigation report. So the same was covered here. The board and the investigating authority shall make every effort the business of the service provider and investigation under investigation is the same is the above the least burden. The same word is used here. The board may at any time modify the order referred in sub-regulation 2 to enlarge the scope of investigation or other terms of investigation for reason to be recorded in writing. So this was, I don't think this was covered here. As per the board shall have, I don't think this was covered here as per the inspection, but this is covered here as per the investigation. The board may at any time modify the order. The modification was not there, but here is the board have the right to make the modification in the order also, for the reason to be recorded in writing. The conduct of investigation, how to conduct. The investigating authority shall serve a notice of investigation to the service provider at least 10 days before is the same. The 10 days was given in inspection also. Provided that where the investigating authority is satisfied that the notice will cause undue delay in investigation, or there is the same which was the above, after the notice is served or the reason to be recorded in writing, dispense with such notice, the investigating authority may require the service provider or an associated person to submit the records as may be required before the commencement of the investigation. So same here, the investigating authority may visit the office of the service provider for conducting the on-site investigation. The same as above, in case of inspection, the same is here. It shall be the duty of the service provider and the associated person to produce before the investigating authority such records in his custody or control, and to furnish to the investigating authority such statements and information relating to its activities within such time as the investigating authority may require. The service provider shall allow the investigating authority to have access to the premises occupied by the service provider or by any person, as we have already read in case of inspection. The same is here. The investigation authority shall in course of investigation may examine, here is the word may, examine and record the statement of any associated person of the service provider in relation to the affairs of his business, and for that purpose may require any of those person to appear before it personally. So this is here, and I also make some suggestions in the conduct of investigation. The 7 is here. I am reading this this regulation, regulation 8, sub-regulation 7. Notes of an examination referred to in sub-regulation 6 means this shall be recorded and shall be read over to or by and assigned by the person examined. This is written here. Required to add in this, because this is also required to be added here. Such statement may also be audio or video recorded with prior intimation to the person examined, and the copy of transcript shall be made available to them on request. So this should also require to be, because the person who was investigated, he also knows what they have recorded. So this is also required to add as per my suggestion. And if anybody want to provide their suggestion whether this is required or any other changes have required after this sub-regulation. So this is my suggestion. And if anybody have any suggestion, they can also suggest. So we'll proceed. It shall be the duty of the service provider and the associated person to give to the investigating authority all the assistance, as we have already read above, in case of inspection. The investigation authority shall keep in its custody and records produced to it up to 6 months, because they have also defined the period of 6 months, and they thereafter shall return the same to the person by whom or on behalf of the record are produced. So the investigating authority may keep in its custody any records produced to it up to 6 months, because they have said until the 6 month the investigation authority have the right to keep the records in its custody. However, this was not in case of inspection. This is only applicable in case of investigation. Provided that it may call for further records again if it consider necessary, and shall give certified copy of these copies of those to the person by whom or on behalf of these were produced if required by him. So where in course of investigation, the investigation authority has reasonable grounds to believe that the records of or relating to a service provider or an associated person in any manner may be destroyed, mutilated, altered, falsified, secreted, the investigation authority may make an application to the competent court. Here is the word is competent court, having jurisdiction for an order for the seizure of such records. So in this case, this is very inspection is easy process, but investigation is very can say harmful. So the investigating authority may make an application to the competent court having the jurisdiction for the seizure of such records also. After considering the application under sub-regulation 10, this regulation, and hearing the investigation authority, if necessary, the competent court may, by an order, authorize the investigation authority to enter with such assistance as may be required, because now the court will direct. If they will take the order from the court for the seizure of the records, then court will direct, and court, what the court can direct, court can, the competent court may order to enter with such assistance as may be required the place or places where such records are kept, to search that places or those places in the manner specified in the order, and to seize the records it consider necessary for the purpose of investigation. So they have given here this also. The investigation authority may requisition the service of any police officer, because they have also involved here the police officer, because the police officer cannot be involved at the stage of inspection, but in case of investigation the police officer can also be involved. So the requisition, the service of any police officer or any officer of the central government or of both to assist him in search and seizure under the order under sub-regulation 11, and it shall be the duty of every such officer to comply with such requisition. So basically they have given the direction that IA, investigating authority, have the right to involve the police or any other officer of the central government. Every such seizure shall be carried out in accordance with the provision of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Here the Criminal Procedure Code was came. So investigation is very harmful than the inspection relating to the search and seizure made under that code. Now I have one suggestion here, required to add regulation 13A. After this 13, I want that 13A should require to be inserted here. The investigation shall be completed within 180 days, because there should be a period in which the investigation should require to be completed. Otherwise, a person like the service provider will be harassed unnecessarily. So there should be a period should also be mentioned here. The investigation shall be completed within 180 days from the date of the commencement, unless extended by the board by recording in reason in writing, or any extension shall not exceed 90 days at a time. So this is my suggestion only. So if anybody wants any other suggestion, they can give, because I want to make.
I think
Yes,
there
sir.
is one more suggestion.
Yes, sir.
They should change the name of the criminal procedure code also, because no, it is a BNSS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So this has
Yeah.
is required to be
Yes.
changed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Noted. I just noted down. Sir, please also mention in your chat box so the IPA can record this.
I will just check it.
Yes, ICSI IPA can also record this.
So it is regulation number 13. It is what it is.
This is 813.
813. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Regulation
I have written in my notes also, so we'll provide to the ICSI IPA. Interim investigation report. What is the interim investigation report? The investigation getting authority may submit an interim investigation report to the board if it consider appropriate, keeping in view the nature and progress of the investigation. The investigating authority shall submit an interim investigation report if required by the board. So, may, here is also the word is may. The above we have already seen in case of inspection, they have also used the may word. So this is not mandatory. But the investigating authority wants, they can submit the interim investigation report to the board if it consider appropriate. Investigation getting authority shall submit an interim investigation report if required by the board. So if required by the board, then it is compulsory because shall is here. So if board will ask, then required to submit necessarily. Otherwise, may. Got it? Now, if the board is satisfied from the interim investigation report that the prima facie there is a gross violation of the provision of the code or rules or regulations made thereunder by the service provider, and the immediate action under section 2 of section 220 is warranted, the board shall refer the matter to the disciplinary committee for the appropriate action. We will also see here what is provided as per section 220. Appointment of the disciplinary committee. The board shall constitute a disciplinary committee to consider the report of the investigation authority submitted under subsection 6 of 218. 218 we have already discussed. Provided that the members of the disciplinary committee shall consist of whole-time member of the board only. So this is written here, the whole-time member of the board only. Disciplinary committee in which the whole-time members of the board only. On the examination of the report of the investigating authority, if the disciplinary committee is satisfied that the sufficient cause exists, it may impose a penalty as specified in subsection 3 or suspend or cancel the registration of insolvency professional or suspend or cancel the registration of IPA or IU. Here they have also not mentioned IPE as the case may be. So I do why they have not mentioned here the IPE. So further 220 section 220 218 and 220 in both section IPE should be there. Because all the support services nowadays are only provided by the IPE. So if they control the IP, so who will be liable? Why only IP will be liable? IPE should also be liable if they will do anything wrong. So 3 times the amount of the loss caused or likely to have been caused to person concerned on account of such contravention, or 3 times the amount of unlawful gain made on account of such contravention. So these are the penalty amount, whatever they have mentioned here. So we have seen the board shall refer the matter to the here the service provider, and immediate action under subsection 2 of 220 is warranted. The board shall refer the matter to the disciplinary committee for an appropriate action. Now, on consideration of the interim investigation report, the disciplinary committee may pass an interim order with appropriate direction to the service provider. So, after this, the disciplinary committee may pass. Here is also the word may. may pass an interim order with the appropriate direction to the service provider. The interim order referred in sub-regulation 4 shall lapse on expiry of 90 days, the same which was provided above in case of inspection. Investigation report. The investigating authority shall submit to the board. What? The board shall examine the investigation report as to whether the investigation is complete and satisfactory or require any further investigation, and advise the investigating authority accordingly within 15 days of the receipt of the investigation report. So, after taking into account the advice of the board, the investigating authority shall prepare an investigation report and submit to the board. So, is there any suggestions as per this chapter or in all these regulations? If anybody want to make any changes or suggest any changes to the ICSI IPA, they can suggest. So no suggestions. Now the chapter 3A, investigation during the disposal of complaint and grievances or grievances. So the investigation during the disposal of the complaint or grievances. How will be made this? Notwithstanding anything contained in chapter 3, the processing of the complaint or grievance or material available on records under the Solvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, as per this, we will discuss this procedure also here, shall mean investigation under this regulation, and in such case, the processing paper shall mean the investigation report and under regulation 10. So they have cleared if anybody filed any complaint or grievance against any service provider, the procedure will be the same as we have already discussed for the inspection and investigation, provided that nothing in this regulation shall restrict the board to appoint an inspecting authority under chapter 2 or investigating authority under chapter 3. So if there is any complaint or there is any grievance, the board have the right to appoint any inspection authority or have the right to appoint any investigating authority. Chapter 3B. What is provided as per chapter 3B? If we will read the interim order or the material available on record. The interim order on material available on record, if based on the material available on record, the board is satisfied that prima facie there is a violation of the provision of the code or rules or regulations made thereunder by the service provided, and an immediate action is warranted, as we have already read this section. So immediate action will be warranted. On consideration of the matter referred in this sub-regulation, the disciplinary committee may pass the interim order with the appropriate direction, same above. An interim order shall lapse after the expiry of the 90 days from the date of the order. So the same is mentioned here. Now consideration of report. The board shall consider the inspection report received under regulation 6, means regulation 6 we have already discussed the inspection or investigation report regulation 10 as the time. If the board after consideration if board after consideration of the report under sub-regulation 1 or on the basis of the material available on the record is prima facie opinion that the sufficient cause exists to take action under section 220 or subsection 2 of section 236, it shall issue a show cause notice in accordance with regulation 12 to the service provider or the associated person or any other case close to the investigation or inspection as the case may be. So this is the right of the board. Now show cause notice. What is required to be contained in the show cause notice? The show cause notice shall be, here is the word shall. So may is not here, shall. So this compulsorily required to be in writing. Is the mandatory part is in writing. And shall state the provision of the code under which it has been issued, the details of the LS facts, the evidence in support of the LS facts. So the show cause notice required to be contained all these three particulars. The provisions of the code, rules, regulation, guidelines thereunder alleged violated, or the manner in which the public interest is allegedly affected. So all should be in the show cause notice. The action or direction that the board proposed to take or issue if the allegations are established, the time within such which the notice may make written submission. So time should also be mentioned in the show cause notice in which we can submit our written submission. The manner in which the service provider is required to respond to the show cause notice, and consequence of failure to respond to the show cause notice. They should also mention what will be the consequences if we will not respond to the show cause notice. So they should also mention this. For the purpose of clause E of sub-regulation 1, the board shall take into account but not limited to the following factors: the nature and the seriousness of the alleged contravention, including whether it was deliberate, reckless, or negligent on the part of the notice, the consequence and impact of the alleged contravention, including the unfair advantage gained by the noticee as a result of the alleged contravention, or loss caused or likely to be caused to the stakeholders. We have already discussed what is the definition of stakeholders. So if there is any loss made to the stakeholders, or any advantage gained by the alleged contravention, or the conduct of the noticee after the occurrence of the alleged contravention and prior to the alleged contravention. So this have required to be mentioned in the show cause notice. Now the show cause notice shall provide 15 days to the noticee to make a written submission. Now they have written 15 days time to be given to the noticee to submit their written statement. Now, the show cause notice shall state if the noticee fails to respond under sub-regulation 3 within the time, it shall be disposed of based on the material available on records. The show cause notice shall enclose copies of the relevant documents, extracts, and other relevant portions from the report of investigation or inspection or other records. The show cause notice shall be served on the service provided in electronic form at the email address provided by the service provider to the board, and is here. A copy shall also be sent by register port. Means both type of communication required to serve the notice, the show cause notice, to the service provider electronic form, as well as, because and word is here, the copy shall also be sent by the registered post also. So in both forms they have required to serve the notice to the noticee. Now the board shall refer the show cause notice to the disciplinary committee along with all the relevant records, including the written submission, if any, made by the noticee in the matter. And disposal of the show cause notice. How disposed of this show cause notice? The disciplinary committee, after providing an opportunity, because opportunity of being heard required to be given to the noticee, so shall dispose of the show cause notice by a reasoned order. The disciplinary committee shall endeavor to dispose of the show cause notice within the period of 60 days. Here, the period is 60 days is mentioned from the due date of the receipt of reply. So the period will be counted only when we have submitted our reply to the show cause notice. So the 60 days is from the due date of the receipt of the reply. So whatever the due date, the date is not started from when we have submitted. The date which is mentioned as per the show cause notice will be the due date on which we have required to submit our reply. So this will be the 60 days will be counted from the due date of the receipt of the reply. The order under sub-regulation 1 may provide for the closure of the show cause notice without any directions. warning, suspension or cancellation, because they can provide any type of order. Warning, suspension, cancellation, cancellation of AFA, or any of the action under subsection 2, 3, 4 of section 220. So 2, 3, 4, what is provided? 2, 3, 4. 2 we have already seen, the suspension, cancellation of registration. Now 3 provides 3 times of the amount of caused, likely to have been caused to the person. So 3 times is the penalty. 3 times of the amount of unlawful gain for such contravention. This is the penalty. Whichever is higher. They have said 3 times of the amount of losses occurred. If losses occurred to the person, then 3 times of the losses. Or if there is the unlawful gain was earned, then this. So whichever is higher. Provided that where such loss or unlawful gain is not quantifiable, if this we cannot identify ki how much, we cannot calculate, then the total amount of penalty imposed shall not exceed rupees 1 crore. So maximum penalty is for 1 crore rupees. Notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 3, the board may direct any person who has made unlawful gain or averted loss by indulging in any activity in contravention of this code or rules or regulation made thereunder to disgorge an amount equivalent to such unlawful gain or aversion of loss. So basically equivalent to such amount. So this penalty is there, highest of anything, or this is also there. If there is nothing is contained as per subsection 3, the board may direct any person who has made unlawful gain. Means any person, to any person the board can direct. So we have seen this. Now a reference to the board to make an action under subsection 5 of section 220 of subsection 2 of section 236. 5 is here. The board may take such action as may be required to provide restitution to the person who suffered losses on account of any contravention from the amount so disgorged, if the person who suffered such losses is identifiable and the losses so suffered is directly attributable to such. So the board may make such action as may be required to provide restitution to the person who suffered. It means, yes, sir. Sir, some voice are coming from the back side. Is there any suggestion? Someone is saying something? So any other action or direction as may be considered appropriate. So these type of order can be provided by the disciplinary committee. Now the order under sub-regulation 1 shall not become effective until 30 days have elapsed from the date of the issue of the order, unless the disciplinary committee states otherwise in the order along with the reason for the same. The order passed under sub-regulation 1 shall be shoved upon the service provider in electronic form and be published on the website, because they have not seen कि you have also served these copy of this order to the registered post. They have only said कि served upon the service provider in an electronic form and is here, but publish on the website of the board. Here is they will publish on the website of the board also. Provided that where the service provider is an insolvency professional, the copy of the order, now they have further mentioned, the copy of the order shall be sent to the insolvency professional agency of which he is a professional member. So the IPA, to the IPA, the board will also serve the copy of this order. The disciplinary committee shall in order passed under sub-regulation 1 required the service provider to discharge the pending obligation, if any, to continue its function till such time as may be directed, only to enable the stakeholders to shift to another service provider. So discharge भी कर सकते हैं, means the disciplinary committee have the power, shall in an order passed under this regulation require the service provider to discharge the pending obligation. First, the service provider will discharge the pending obligation, if any, to continue its function till such time as may be directed, only to enable the stakeholders to shift another service provider and to comply with any other direction. So this is with the within the jurisdiction of the disciplinary committee. In case where the service provider is an IP, the board shall intimate the order of all the members to the committee of creditors of the insolvency resolution processes in which he is acting as an interim resolution professional or the resolution professional as the case may be, and to the adjudicating authority. So in case where the service provider is the IP, the board shall intimate the order to all the members of the committee of creditors of the insolvency resolution processes in which he is acting as a IP or IRP or RP as the case may be, and the adjudicating authority means COC. They will also intimate to the COC and they will also intimate to the NCLT, adjudicating authority. Now, is there any suggestions in the above chapter, or we can discuss chapter number 5? So the restitution is there. What is the restitution? Where a direction has been issued to any person to disgorge the amount under subsection 4, as we have already read, section 220, the board shall endeavor to realize the amount of disgorgement expeditiously. It means the return. We can say this is the return of the amount, whatever the realized by the service provider or any person who has taken as a gain. The board shall, as soon as after the realization of the amount of disgorgement, invite the claim by a public announcement from the person who have suffered losses on account of the contravention underlying the direction under subsection 4 of section this. So this is the restitution related section. Now these are the forms which is provided for the inspection or investigation regulation. Now we will discuss this. We will come into this.
Ma'am, good
Go
evening,
ahead.
ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Is there any helpline for the IPs, ma'am, insolvency professional?
Actually, helpline, some helpline is already mentioned here. I will show you also on my portal. My portal is visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 1 minute, ma'am. These are the members basically, or there is also a helpline is also there. These are the helplines, officers of IBBI. So these are the basically, they have mentioned the number here: complaint, grievance, inspection, investigation. For this, you can also email or you can contact here. So these are basically the helpline.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, like
Yes.
we are getting some emails, threatening emails from the stakeholders when we handle some assignment. So, what is your suggestion, ma'am? Can we write to them?
Ma'am, no, please repeat, ma'am, what you have said.
Ma'am, in few of my assignments, like few
Few of
threatening
your
emails.
assignment, yes.
Yeah, we are receiving some threatening emails from the suspended directors of the
Okay.
corporate debtor.
Okay.
stating, we will complain you to the IBBI.
Yes,
For
you
each
can
and
complain to the
everything.
IBBI, and I would also suggest you can also submit your application to the adjudicating authority also.
Just for their emails, ma'am, can we send an application? Can we file an application before NCLT? Because they are just
If
sending.
there is some threatening or something is very serious, then you can do this, ma'am. You can take the action. Otherwise, first you should intimate to the IBBI.
Through this email
Yeah.
address and mobile, this contact number.
Yeah, these are related numbers
Hello?
or related emails. So
Oh,
Hello?
okay, ma'am.
Hello?
Thank you.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello? If they are threatening to the person, so they can file a FIR against the suspended person. Because that
Yes.
is a criminal case, na? Because they are threatening the life of the RP.
Yes,
RP.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
Okay.
can also
You just
make, you can also register an FIR against this person. So, and the copy of this FIR you should submit to the board and also adjudicating authority. So, we'll discuss now this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India grievance and complaint handling procedure, because there was also a change was made, and the change whatever made by the IBBI is not beneficial for the insolvency professional. So I will also discuss this. The amended up to 29th January 2025. This is recent, which I have shown. What is provided as per this regulation? These regulation, 1 minute. My screen is properly visible, na?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, this is, we know the first is the short title or commencement, so I will not read this part. The definition part is here. The aggrieved. What is the meaning of aggrieved? Aggrieved means a stakeholder who had filed a grievance with the board on failing to get his grievance redress from the concerned service provider. So they have provided what is the meaning of aggrieved. And associated person, we have already discussed this definition in this inspection and investigation part also. Board means the board is IBBI. Board complaint. Complaint means a written expression by a stakeholders alleging contravention of any of the provision of the code or rules, regulations or guidelines made thereunder, or circulars or direction issued by the board, by the service provider or any of its associated person, and includes a complaint cum grievances. So complaint cum grievances are also included in the definition of complaint. Complaint cum grievances means a complaint and grievance in the same matter. A complaint is also there and grievance is also there. So both will be covered as a complaint cum grievance. Complainant means a stakeholder who have filed a complaint or a complaint cum grievances with the board. Grievance, what is the definition of grievance? Grievance means a written expression. Complaint is a written expression by a stakeholder of his suffering on account of conduct of service provider or its associated person. So on account of service provider and or its associated person here. But in complaint, what they have added, by a stakeholder alleging, here is the alleging is the word, contravention of any provision of the code, because there should be some contravention of the provision of the code, rules, regulation or guidelines made thereunder, or circulars or direction issued by the board, by a service provider or any of its associated persons. So there should be something related to the act or regulations or rules. But in the case of grievances, there is nothing. They have simply said the means the written expression by the stakeholders of his suffering on account of the conduct of the service provider or its associated person. Service provider, we have already seen the definition, the IP, IP, IPE or information utility. Stakeholders, we have already read this definition earlier. Now filing, what is the changes was came? I will show you what is the changes was came in 2025. This is a change. 28th January 2025. This was came. I will show you. This is the change. So first we will read this so we can better understand the whole regulation. The filing of grievance and complaint. A stakeholder who wished to file a grievance shall file it with the board. The grievance shall state what is state the details of identity of the aggrieved, details of the identity of the service provider, details of the conduct of the service provider that has caused the suffering to the aggrieved, details of suffering whether pecuniarily or otherwise the aggrieved has undergone, how the conduct of service provider has caused or the suffering of the aggrieved, detail of his efforts to get the grievance redressed from the service provider, and why the response, if any, of the service provider is not satisfactory, and how the grievance may be redressed. So this required to be filed by the stakeholders who want to file as a grievance with the board. Now, the stakeholder who wishes to file a complaint shall file it with the board in Form A. They have also prescribed a form along with a demand draft of 2,500 rupees. Demand draft required to be made, drawn in favor of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, payable at New Delhi, or an online acknowledgement of this fee amount paid to the credit of the board towards the fee. So either paid by the demand draft or either paid online. So they have required to file along with this form the payment of the fees. The grievance or a complaint, as the case may be filed, shall be filed within 45 days of the occurrence of the cause of action of the grievance or complaint the complaint. Here they have mentioned grievance or complaint, as the case may be, shall be filed within 45 days of the occurrence of the cause of action for the grievance or complaint. Now, provided that provided that the grievance or a complaint may be filed after the aforesaid period if there are sufficient reason justifying the delay, but such period shall not exceed 30 days, because earlier they have written only 30 days because it was issued earlier only 30 days, here 30 days, but now they have inserted some more 30 days, because they have also said 30 days from the date of the closure of all proceedings. Here they have used the word all proceedings relating to the process under the code before the adjudicating authority, appellate authority means NCLAT, NCLT, the High Court, the Supreme Court, whatever. So they have means this is more liability will be imposed on the IPs because closure of all the proceedings. So until the closure of all the proceedings, the person have the right to file the complaint or grievance. So it means if you have, if in your case the resolution plan was passed, the plan was approved, everything was done, still you will be liable if any case is pending before the High Court or the Supreme Court or the appellate authority, still you will be liable and have the right to any person to file the complaint or grievance against the service provider from the date of the closure of all proceedings, because they have mentioned here the word is the all proceedings. Now I want a change in this regulation. I have made some suggestion, or I invited to all of you, please provide your suggestions here, because this is the very required part. Now regulation 3(4), we have read this. The grievance or a complaint, as the case may be, shall be filed within 30 days. Here they have provided 45 days. Here should be the 30 days as per my suggestion, but I'm agree with this. I have no issue with this. But after that, whatever they have inserted, I have a problem with this. So I have a suggestion that within 30 days from the occurrence of the action of the grievance or complaint, provided that no grievance or complaint shall be entertained after the expiry of 45 days from the date of the cessation of the insolvency professional's role. If our roles has been ended, then how we will be liable? If the proceeding is already going on in the Supreme Court, High Court, or somewhere else, or any of the service provider, why they will be liable? So I think there should be they should insert the 30 days or 45 days, whatever they want, they can retain here the 30 days or 45 days, but there should be the cessation of the insolvency professional's role in the process. So regardless of any ongoing or subsequent judicial proceeding under the code, provided further that no grievance or complaint shall be against the insolvency professional for act carried out in good faith within the scope and of their power under the code and in compliance with the direction of the adjudicating authority or the IBBI. So this is my suggestion. So I invited the comment from all the participants. If they want to share their comments, they can share, or they are agreed with this, or they are agreed with this, so they can provide me the suggestions. Is there any further changes have required in this, or this is okay? Because all the proceedings here.
Hello, madam.
Yes, sir.
Madam, that whatever na your suggestion na
Yes, sir.
and existing is okay, madam. That should be there because so many RPs and people na they are doing all mischief, madam. And the stakeholders will come to know very late. That is correct, madam.
That is correct.
Whatever they have, there is no need to change.
Hmm.
And the people see many people intelligently doing all mischiefs and
Hmm.
they are escaping.
Okay.
You put the so
But this is sir, this is still they should mention some period or something, because the Supreme Court cases or High Court cases, if the because the income tax cases are there, or some other type of cases in IBC is also there, so the proceeding is already going on, so in the Supreme Court, High Court, so how the IP will be liable after 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years? Because every case is take time in
correct,
resolving to
madam.
before the Supreme Court or the High Court. So yes,
IBBA amended this
yes, sir.
regulation after a thorough investigation and this one. And these stakeholders na will come to know how these fellows played the mischief. It is taking time. It takes time, madam. Generally, na because I am also see I have seen you are correct, but many people intelligently they are committing frauds on our own community. They are escaping. So
Hmm.
this should be there, madam. This is my opinion. See why? Because stakeholders na they realize, they understand the process very lately. So
No,
that
but
is
they
why.
cannot be made responsible for that. Sorry, sir. I have serious
No.
reservations, sir.
See,
If it is a process,
uh,
then every person involved in the process should know the time bound process. It is not that only the IP has to work for 180 days
Yes,
or
sir.
360
Only
days or
why
320
IP
days.
is
Everybody
only
is
be
covered
like
under that. If
IP
they are not
is a
able to
temp-
locate, they cannot use it as a medium for harassing RPs.
IP
So I have
is a
serious
temporary
reservations, sir.
management. He
In
can't
fact, it
be,
should be brought back to the
can't
earlier
be forced
provision
to
which
do
is there.
everything. IP
Sir,
is a
hello,
temporary
hello,
manager there.
Yes,
hello,
one by one, sir,
hello,
please, sir.
hello.
I'm requesting
May
to
I
the
say something?
yes, sir. Yes,
Hello, hello,
yes,
madam.
sir. We can.
Actually, क्या है कि because if you see the law for fraudulent activities, there is no time of limitation. It can be
you are
initiated
correct, sir.
anytime. Okay,
See, if it
or
is a
you
fraud,
can't say that
there is no limitation.
there
You
is
are
no
correct,
any
sir.
limitation for fraudulent activity timeline.
Correct. Correct. Limitation will not apply. You are correct, sir. If it is a fraud, you are correct.
So let it be proved it is a fraud. Now, why you want to start the process initially,
Yes.
extend it for everyone?
The fraudulent
If
for
it is
whom?
proved that a fraud is different. If it is not
For-
proved, it should continue.
The fraudulent
That
for
30
whom?
days, in fact, it should be reduced to a further period of 30 days only. Why after the Supreme Court 30 days? Why after
Yeah,
it should be, if it is 30 or 45 days from the occurrence of event, further period of 30 days should be given, not more than that. People are misusing this as a device.
Sorry,
It's the other way
sorry
around.
to interrupt.
yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt. And there is a timeline and time limit, and milestones are only for RPs. And for others, there is no milestone.
Therefore, it should be timeline. That is the reason I'm saying that it should be timeline. If
Yes.
within 30 days they are not able to locate, they cannot locate it. Matter ends there.
and
Finished.
and RPs are facing lots of problems that in many cases the thing is that the books are not completed after 2011-12. So what RP will do in those cases? RP has to in the field situation is very different, which only RP can say about that. RP has the taste of the water, that what is going on, and
Yes.
what how their loan was sanctioned, and how these companies were
Yes, sir.
operating.
Yes, sir. Agreed.
And now RPs are being made scapegoat.
Liable for all the proceedings related
Yes,
to the
yes.
process. So why the all the proceedings, the word is here related to the process.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, please. Thank you.
So a grievance or a complaint shall be filed with the board on its detailed dedicated portal. They have mentioned this portal. Identity of the stakeholders. So there is no further change. Only one change is there as per the amendment. So no further changes in this regulation. So identity of the stakeholder. So stakeholder filing the grievance or complaint shall disclose its identity in the grievance or a complaint as the case may be, and also the identity of the authorized representative who is authorized to file it. The stakeholder filing the grievance or complaint as the case may be may request the board to keep its identity confidential, and in that case the board shall keep it confidential unless its disclosure is necessary for the processing of the grievance or complaint as per the law. And registration number, where the board is in receipt of more than one grievance or more than one complaint in the same matter, it may club such grievance or such complaint together for their disposal. The board shall assign a unique registration number to every grievance and every complaint and communicate the said registration number to the aggrieved or the complainant within a week of its receipt. The board shall also not take any cognizance of any anonymous grievance or complaint. Now, disposal of grievance and complaint, how the board will dispose of. The board may seek additional information and records from the aggrieved and the information and records from the concerned service provider to decide if the grievance required may redress by the service provider. The aggrieved and the service provider shall submit the information and records sought within 7 days thereof, provided that an additional time not exceeding 7 days may be granted by the board for submitting the information and records sought under sub-regulation 2 on the request of the service provider. The board shall close the grievance within 7 days of its receipt. So because complaint is more serious than the grievance. The disposal of grievance by the IPA, notwithstanding anything contained in Regulation 6, the board may forward a grievance against the IP for the disposal by the IPA of which he is the professional member. On request of the grievance under sub-regulation 1, the IPA shall dispose of the grievance in accordance with the bylaws and intimate the board within the 30 days of its receipt of the grievance. And how they will dispose of the complaint written here? Disposal of the complaint. The board may seek additional information and records from the complainant and information and records from the concerned service provider or from a prima facie view whether the contravention alleged in the complaint is correct. The complainant and the service provider shall submit the information and records sought under sub-regulation 1 within 7 days thereof, provided that an additional time not exceeding 7 days may be granted by the board on the request of the service provider. The board shall investigate the information and records and from an opinion whether there exists a prima facie case within 30 days of the receipt. So basically, this is the procedure for the disposal of the complaint. And I don't think there is some more thing have required to be discussed in this part. So now I will show you the another regulation. This is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India Information Utility Regulation. So because there is no recent changes in this regulation, this was amended up to 13th August 2024 only. So no recent changes is there, but however, we will discuss some part of it also. The application programming, what is the this is the definition part basically. So who will be the information utility, what is the eligibility criteria basically for IU? It is a public company because IPA is the section 8 company, but we will see the this is the public company. IU, Information Utility, is the public company, and its sole object is to provide core services and other services under these regulation and discharge its function as may be necessary for the providing these services. Its shareholdings and governance is in accordance with chapter this. So they have written ki who will be the who is eligible for becoming as a IU. Now, the person itself, its promoter, its director cannot hold more than 5%, same as per the IPA. For determining whether the person is fit and proper, the board may take into account. So they have written what is the eligibility criteria. So is there any changes required in these regulations? This regulation, inspection and investigation regulation, information utility related regulations, so the participants can share their views. Otherwise, this is basically, these are the condition for the registration. The certificate of registration shall be valid for the period of 5 years from the date of the issue. So basically, these are the normal condition, and you can also read these condition, because I have required to discuss only here. As if there is any changes or suggestions you want in this regulation, you can suggest, so we can discuss. Otherwise, I think not a big thing in this regulation have required to be discussed. What is the shareholding? Basically, they have described who will be the shareholder: the government company, stock exchange, depository, bank, insurance company, or the public financial institutions. So basically, they have given who will be the shareholder in the IU, and composition of the board. So what will be the composition of the governing board? Same as per the ICSI, the IPAs, basically ICSI or any three IPAs, the same is here. So provided that more than half of the directors shall be citizen of India. Same applicable in case of IPA, ICSI IPA. So same is applicable here. The managing director shall not be considered either an independent director or the shareholder director. Same is here. So if any changes you want to suggest, then can suggest. Otherwise, I will. I will end the session, or is there any suggestions from any of the participants here? The preservation policy. What is the basically what is the preservation policy? And information utility shall have the preservation policy, providing for the form, manner, and duration of preservation. And the preservation policy shall be consistent with the technical standard. So they have also provided what should be the preservation policy of the records with the IU. So is there any suggestions if anybody have? Otherwise, I will end the session here. The surrender or cancellation of registration. The information utility shall at all time have an exit management plan, which shall include the mechanism to enable user to transfer information to other information utility expeditiously, or mechanism for preservation and transfer of information, and timelines for the cost and estimate of implementing the exit management plan. So exit management plan is also there in case of IU. So I think basically the whatever the relevant we have already discussed in this session. Now the further session will be held on 7th June. This is the pre-packaged insolvency regulations. So in this regulation, I request to all the participants kindly attend the session, so we can make a impactful pre-packaged insolvency regulations by the way. So the more cases of pre-package can be initiated. So I request to all the participants now. I will end the session.
Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, when your next session is?
7th June, sir.
7th.
7th June, and I think ICSI IPA will make a mail to all the participants or all
They have
other.
mailed already.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have mailed.
So they have mailed.
Okay. 7th. Okay, ma'am.
7 June. This is the pre-packaged related, and after this session, we will discuss more relevant sessions also of this webinar, like the CIRP process regulation, liquidation. So all are relevant. So I request to all the participants kindly attend these sessions. So impactful regulations can be drafted, and we can submit our comments to the IBBI and IPA also. So now I request to ICSI IPA, can we end the session?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, and thank you all the participants for their active participation in the webinar and sharing the comments with us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ma'am.